Welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast. I'm your co-host, Cicely.
I'm your host, Hayden.
And today we're talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Came out today? Yesterday?
Today, technically.
October 27th, which is today.
Yeah.
So this year also, 2023. PG-13, hour and 50 minutes. A troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift won't be so easy to get through. Pretty soon, he will unveil what actually happened at Freddy's.
There's no rating, obviously, because it just came out today. But
Yeah.
I saw it sometime this morning that it was at, like, a really bad rating.
Oh.
But the users, like, the, I don't know, like, the critics hate it, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Really?
Yeah. But the fans loved it. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say
96% of the people that watched it liked it, apparently, as far as fans go.
Interesting.
And, like, Rotten Tomatoes is always, like, shitting on good movies and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't think it would, I didn't expect it to get a bad review.
Yeah, the critics don't like it for some reason. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
They're saying, like, oh, it's not scary, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. I don't know. And they're saying, like, the story is, like, really not great. Anyway, we'll get into it, so just go ahead and read the question.
What items is the killer famous for wearing in the 1976 film Alice, Sweet Alice? The answer is yellow raincoat and translucent mask.
We will read the next question later, but as far as this question goes, Courtney Overly got that one right.
I saw that. I saw the messages pop up on my Facebook, and you must have been responding, and they kept going away, and I was like, I didn't even get the message back yet.
Oh,
what the hell?
Yeah, I was responding.
Yeah, and then I got on there, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, she got it right. Good job. She's pretty much a longtime fan of this
Heck yeah.
podcast, so thanks for listening, too. We'll see if you can get the next question in a little while. But, yeah, let's get into this movie here.
Let's get into it.
I was genuinely surprised. Like, I really, really enjoyed this movie a lot. It was.
Yeah, I liked it too.
It was really, really good.
I think they had a good cast.
They were excellent.
Yeah.
And
Do you know who the Vanessa is? Do you know that actress?
She looks familiar. I can't remember.
She's in the first season of You.
Didn't watch it.
Wow. You should watch You.
It just didn't seem interesting to me.
It's so good. She's in the first season and she's so good. I was watching it and I was like, that's her? I love her.
I've seen her in something.
I like her a lot. I don't know her real name, but I do like her as an actress.
But anyway, yeah, this movie was really good.
I'm sorry if you guys can hear me swallow my coffee.
The critics obviously didn't love it, which it wasn't for them anyway. It was for the people that have played the games and understand some of the lore behind Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff. And
I definitely understood, like, I know when we were young, we played.
Yeah. I think we played, like, the first three. I can't remember if we played the fourth one or not.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, because I remember always being, like, scared of it.
Yeah.
But watching you play, and I don't know about you. I was going to ask you this, because I was watching the movie, and I was like, I don't know how do you feel about animatronics in real life? Do they freak you out?
No.
Okay. Yeah, me either.
You're also scared of clowns,
I'm scared
not, so.
Yeah. I went to Fright Farm.
There's a clown.
there was, oh my god, the second barn that you get shut in, it's all clowns this year.
I bet you loved it.
I scrunched my eyes so tight. I covered my ears. I put my arm under Jesse's. And I just sat there until it was over. I said, don't let them come near me. He's like, it's actually pretty cool. Open your eyes. I was like, no.
These are clowns.
I'll die.
So before we start talking about the movie, who's your favorite animatronic?
I like Freddy.
Bonnie is my favorite.
Yeah.
I love Bonnie.
I think Freddy's cute.
She's especially the creepiest out of the...
Yeah, Bonnie's pretty creepy.
And especially in the other games where she's like the Wither, when they... You remember the games that they would start losing pieces?
Yeah.
Like their face would come off or whatever. The faceless Bonnie with the wires hanging at one arm.
Freaky.
That was the creepiest one.
I like Freddy. I just decided this like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I see a bunch of TikToks of this.
Yeah.
And it was... I don't know if I sent it to you, but it was a TikTok where they all turned into like nice animatronics. Somebody touched his nose. Did you see this?
Mm-mm.
And he like melted into like a cute little teddy bear. Like, it's so cute. And I was like, oh my god, I love him. I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah, she's my favorite out of all the animatronics. She's the creepiest, and it seems like she's the one that it kind of takes a while for her to get, because Chica's always the first to go.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I played the damn game, Chica was always the first one to come after me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but it was always Chica. I like Chica. I like them all.
Yeah.
But Bonnie just stands out as the coolest and creepiest one. So, with that in mind, we'll get started here.
Cool.
I like that the beginning was very intense, like the opening was very intense,
yeah, it was.
Nostalgic, and creepy at the same time. Like, it was showing things for the people who, played the games and everything, to have that nostalgia factor, but it was also incredibly intense and creepy at the same time.
I do not fuck with the chasing and then through the vents.
The chasing and the vents, like
through the vents is way worse because you can't run, you have to crawl.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be dead.
And you see the security office at the monitors and everything, and he crawls in the vent and he comes out in this out in the hallway.
Yeah.
And Foxy is just we'll get to that part exactly, but like the nostalgia really hit with this movie. Like it we'll talk about what stood out to me at the end, but that was a really cool and interesting way that they opened this movie up. And yeah, this movie was technically for the fans, but like even newcomers can kind of enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I think so too. Because
even if you don't know,
I didn't know too much. Like, I know just from what I've seen, and I still really like it.
You don't have to be like a lore expert about Five Nights to enjoy this movie.
I'm an example of that. I really
it's kind
liked
of
this
explaining
movie.
what's going on.
Yeah, it tells you what's up.
Yeah. And then we're introduced to a troubled man, but we still care about him. I like how they did that. They were like, this dude is seriously like his something's going wrong in his brain, but you're still gonna care about him.
Yeah.
Like, it was like instantly you liked the dude because from his point of view, let's be fair, it looked like that kid was getting taken.
It really did. That guy did not have to grab his child like that.
No.
That was weird.
And the fact that, it was obvious that he was troubled because he beat the living crap out of that guy. Could he have, found out what was going on before beating the shit out of him? Probably. But to be fair, I understand what he saw because it did look weird. But yes, we're opened on a troubled man, having this not so great job and not being able to sleep, and he's depressed and all this stuff, but it's not to the point where you're just like, this dude's annoying. It's like, I feel incredibly bad for him. And I mean, people knowing the movie know it's not going to stop there, but and there's the scene where he's offered the job, which I thought was really cool. It was cool to see Matthew Lillard's character finally in the movie.
I was wondering who he was gonna be. Yeah, I didn't watch a trailer or anything, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And
obviously, the people who were lore experts knew that he was going to be William Afton.
Yeah,
we knew that, but it was still cool to see him as playing William Afton and the Steve Aglin guy at the same time, because you could kind of we'll get there later, but it was still pretty interesting to see that, like, he's down on his luck. Mike is down on his luck, and you know, he can't sleep very well, and he, you know, is offered this job, but he can't take it at the moment because it's night work, and he can't really do that, blah blah blah. Then we get a glimpse of his past trauma, so he turns down the job, and he, you know, goes home and everything, and he's sleeping, and we see kind of the beginning of why he's so, you know, messed up.
Yeah. Trauma.
And we see that, we see his trauma. And it's hugely understandable why, you know?
Yeah. That would fuck me up too.
His brother was taken by someone, and you know, he was supposed to be watching him, and I guess he didn't, but it's not like he, you know, ignored him or something.
Yeah, it's not like he wanted that to happen.
No. And it's obvious that it's just been weighing on him this entire time. And like I said before, it's immediate that you're like, oh well, this guy, you know, he's fucked up.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And then it also, right after that, showed the amount of pressure that he's under.
Yeah.
With, you know, bills, his aunt, a job, his sister, taking care of his sister, and it really showed that with the red delinquency notice on his door when he got home. It really goes a long way in the beginning to show you exactly why he is the way he is. Not only that, but to kind of try to get you to understand the desperate need for this job.
For the job, yeah.
And I like Mike getting to Freddy's when he first starts, or he accepts the job, and when he first gets there, and you see like the sign and him turning the lights on, or unlocking the door and turning the lights on, and like it was just such a huge nostalgia trip in that moment. And it was definitely for people like us that played the games and understand what's going on, that it was just so cool to see him show up. And then there's the security monitors. It was just 100% like I was staring at the game or something. And he's just sitting in a chair looking at the monitors, and the Freddy Fazbear poster behind the screen and stuff. It was really cool. Yeah. And then the security training video was creepy.
Oh yeah.
So when the animatronics showed up on the video, it started getting the static or whatever. That was pretty crazy. I have to admit, that was creepy.
Trippy a little bit.
Yeah, and the way that woman on the video was kind of talking too was a little strange too.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
But even if you don't know what's going on, it kind of gives you a glimpse at that moment in that video of like,
You're like,
You should be weary.
Yeah, something's up here.
Something's up. The balloon boy was really funny.
Oh, yeah.
And him just showing up at random places. He was in the later games. I can't remember exactly which ones, but like his character in the games was super creepy.
Yeah.
You just heard a kid laugh, and you just had to. I forget exactly. I think he was the Jack in a Box thing. He had to wind up the music box or whatever. Pretty sure that was him to keep him away. But like, when Balloon Boy came out as a character, it was just so crazy and rough. Because you go from the first game where you just have to watch monitors and don't let in animatronics to like, I think it might have been the third or fourth, I forget which game he was in, to where you have to worry about 9 things. The monitors, the animatronics coming in, you have to worry about the vent, so the mimic or whatever, the puppet, the mimic, it doesn't come in. And then you have like Balloon Boy and Cupcake and all this other stuff. Like, it was just so much to worry about, and it was just cool to see like I guess you can call that a cameo because he didn't really do much, but it was still cool. We see Bonnie, and that's the first animatronic that we actually get a good glimpse of.
Yeah.
Is Bonnie, and of course she's my favorite. And the way that they shot that scene through the curtain, and you could just see like the side of her face, I thought was incredibly cool.
Creepy.
It was very creepy. And I like the way it looked, as if you're not getting a full glimpse of the animatronic. But then it shows all of them. It shows Bonnie, Freddy, Chica, and I think it glimpses Foxy too. And it just at that moment, if I can speak, that it's like, holy shit, this is happening.
This is real.
This is real. Like he's looking at the Fazbear band, whatever you want to call it. And it was also right after that he got a more in-depth nightmare. He saw the kids for the first time, which
freaky. That was weird.
Yeah, it was weird. Which
like
at a first glance you might not know, but like for lore experts, you understand that those kids represent the animatronics.
Yeah.
Because their bodies were stuffed in those animatronics. So, like, the golden hair boy was Golden Freddy, and the one with the top hat was Freddy. Bonnie, I think, had the long ears or whatever. And then, whatever, Chica had a bow or something like that. Oh, and Foxy, the kid with Foxy, had the hook in his hand.
Yeah.
Like, it was really obvious that, like, these kids represented the animatronics that they were stuffed into. And
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I just didn't realize that's because I didn't know that side of the story.
Yeah.
So I was like, the whole time I was like, what the hell?
They explain it later, which is good.
Exactly.
But it was still.
If you don't know going into it, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
It's weird.
Yeah.
And it showed that the aunt Jane and Max were trying to set up Mike in order to get custody of Abby. It just it's obvious. He mentions it earlier in the movie that she just wants the check.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about Abby or taking care of her or anything like that. She just wants the money that he technically gets now from having her. And it also shows the viewers, obviously Mike doesn't know it, but it shows the viewers that there are other stakes rather than trying to survive. It's like, if he survives, but somehow it turns into like a police issue and Abby gets taken away, it's not a matter of the aunt caring about her.
Oh, yeah.
Mike actually cares about her. It's just that she just wants the money.
You can tell.
Yeah. So it adds stakes from like both sides, which is interesting to me. And then this is the first time that the stage is empty. And we see Foxy's shadow. which was a really cool foreshadowing into how they hunt. And it was really cool to see them off the stage and finally, like, well, we got a glimpse of it at the beginning and stuff, and it's hinted towards it, but it's actually cool to see them off the stage.
Yeah.
And I think was this the moment that he saw them? No, not yet. Okay, I remembered now.
Yes.
But the dream kids hurt Mike. The hook cut him in the dream, and he woke up with blood on his arm when Vanessa knocks on the door or whatever, and we meet Vanessa at this point, which Mike is still a little weary about, and about like why she knows so much about Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and all this other stuff. Like it's very subtle. You know, it's not like laid on heavy right at the beginning. It's like very subtle, just enough to where you can get kind of like what Mike's talking about, but it's also like, she's a cop. What can she really, or what is she gonna do, kind of thing. And then Vanessa hits the Showtime button. That was fucking cool. She hits the button, they start dancing and singing and stuff like they're supposed to. That was awesome.
She said, "You ready for the time of your life?"
I know. It was so cool. And it's obvious that she loves these animatronics, but she doesn't love what's going on with them.
The story
which we haven't found out quite yet what's going on. But then there's the break-in. And I feel really bad as far as like the animatronics, because their pizza shop got destroyed by these idiots. But Chica or Cupcake gets the first kill, like on-screen kill. And people were saying about how to keep the PG-13 rating, they had to not show the kills. But like, that dude's face getting eaten by Cupcake, it showed the whole thing.
Yeah, which is why I was surprised to see that it was PG-13.
Yeah. And
it was pretty gnarly.
It was gnarly. It really was. It was cool, though.
It was cool.
And then the one guy sees Chica, and she just slowly turns her head. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was creepy. That creeped me out, and I'm not even running from animatronics or anything. Bonnie then gets a kill. He's running away from Chica, but into the broom closet with Bonnie. And that's one kill you don't see. And I just liked how she was already in the closet, because she was always in the closet. That was like her spot or whatever. And every time I went to the camera for the closet, she was in there. And it was really cool to see that moment with Bonnie, because it was almost straight ripped out of the game in a way. And then the guy, the leader, I guess you could say, is running from the animatronics and everything. And that's when he sees Bonnie and Chica on the camera. And straight ripped from the game, they're just like, their head's not turned towards the camera. Like, their head's still facing, but their eyes are looking at the... It's the eyes that always freaked me out.
Way creepier.
Absolutely. And the fact that they're looking in one direction, but their eyes are staring at you in the camera.
Oh, God. Too human-like.
That was 100% ripped straight from the game, and I loved it. Anyway, the guy's running, and then Foxy gets an absolute nostalgia kill. Yeah, Foxy, is doing the scatting thing. I thought was actually really cool. But he's just, walking down slowly down the hallway, and then all of a sudden he sprints at the guy. That's 100% what he does in the game. That's how he gets you in the game, and I thought it was really cool to see that nostalgia-wise. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack from this movie, and that was one of the greater issues with this. We'll get there too. And then Max comes into Fazbear's, and Freddy gets the most brutal kill out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I know it's a meme at the moment, but like the bite of 87, the whole reason that they, you know, yeah, their bodies were stuffed into the animatronics, but the whole bite of 87 thing is that one of the animatronics bit a kid and then ended up being possessed and all that other stuff. And while it didn't show that specifically, it was cool to see a bite from one of the animatronics, and it just bit her in half. And the thing is, you saw it in a shadow, sure.
Yeah.
You saw her body go into the mouth and him bite the body in half, but you saw the legs and the blood hit the floor.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the people that said that there
wasn't
good enough like showing of the killings or whatever, because that was
yeah.
Come on, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was pretty sweet.
And then there's kind of a little bit of a sobering moment with Abby asking about the papers.
Yeah, that made me a little sad.
Yeah. It's definitely not...
She smells like cigarettes. I was like, ew.
It definitely isn't a happy movie, clearly. But it keeps you in a state of being sad and creeped out the whole time, pretty much. And that was one of the sad moments. It was like, you know, I hate Aunt Jane, blah, blah, blah. She smells like cigarettes. And then she finds the papers that he had no intentions of signing whatsoever.
Yeah, he just had them.
He just was given them. And then Vanessa tells Mike about Freddy's. This is finally where we get some glimpse into the backstory a little bit, saying like, oh, these kids disappeared and all this other stuff, and you know, Fazbear's closed down because the kids went missing.
Yada yada.
Or well, she actually tells him that the break-in happened.
Yeah.
But then she kind of goes back into the kids were missing, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And then they connect over Mike's family. Parents died. Well, mom died. And the father couldn't take it because they both were still upset over Garrett being taken and stuff like that. And they really, you know, bond over that moment, that was also really nice. Mm-hmm. But still sad.
Sad face.
I don't think there was really any happy moment yet in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Which it doesn't need a happy moment. It just can just stay creepy and sad the whole time, which it did, and I'm happy about it. So Max isn't answering the phone, and he's forced to bring Abby to work with him.
Yep.
I thought that this was a cool scene because she was already, you know, pleading that she could go to work with him. And the fact that he was pretty much forced to at this point because he has no babysitter, you know?
Yeah.
I just thought it was really coincidental. You know what I mean? That the reason that this next part happens is because of her. And he never wanted to bring her to work. And then Mike's cleaning up and Abby's sleeping. And he cleans up all the glass and the shit from the break-in that they did and all that other stuff. But this is also the moment that Abby sees Freddy. Which at first glance, that's not a good thing. And then she starts screaming and wakes up Mike. And Mike comes running and is about to hit Freddy with the chair. And he stops and like backs up, and we find out that Abby was playing with them.
Uh-huh. Just casually
playing with the animatronics, which from a lore standpoint makes sense because they're kids, she's a kid, blah blah blah, what have you. But it's still just so cool to see this other side because you're so used to the animatronics just trying to kill you, you know? And it's very cool to see them with kind of, in a way, a change of personality, if you will. And then I really liked how, Abby and Freddy got along, and she drew the heart and put it in Freddy's hand and stuff. I thought I really liked that.
That was cute.
I liked that moment.
He like switched his hand.
He like did it really robotically,
cute,
but it was still cool.
Yeah, I like that part.
And then there's the moment that Abby drew the nightmare that Mike's been having every night. Kind of opens your eyes a little bit. Like, there's more going on than what you see.
Exactly.
One of my favorite parts of this movie. It isn't my favorite part. I'll say which part was my favorite at the end, but one of my favorite parts was them building the fort together.
Yeah.
I really, really loved that moment. It showed that these aren't senseless killing machines.
Yeah.
They're being controlled into killing things by somebody.
Somebody.
We don't know who that is yet, but people that played the games know it's William Afton.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is one of my favorite moments because of the fact that they're all working together and they're building the fort together, and Bonnie and Chica are like picking up tables and moving them, and Freddy's like stacking the chairs, and Freddy drops a chair and Bonnie stacks something, and then she puts or she falls backwards and she just puts her thumb up. I thought that this moment of the movie was such a good and like refreshing scene and necessary. I think that I wouldn't have enjoyed this movie as much if that scene was not in there.
Yeah, I did really like that scene too.
I very much enjoyed that scene. And this next part kind of puts you on the roller coaster again, is when he calls his aunt to watch Abby. We didn't really get an explanation as to why he did that. But obviously he was out of options.
He had to. He
couldn't take her to work again because the animatronics. And then what else was he going to do? He can't pay anybody. Not yet, anyway. But it's still the fact that, she got upset and they had a fight. And which is understandable. But he tried to explain to her like what was actually going on. And it's at this moment that they have a new dream.
Yeah.
Or he has a new dream. It's not as, I guess. Well, the new dream is that, he could keep Garrett. And apparently the ghost kids can change his dream to where Garrett's safe, and he can see Garrett every night in exchange for Abby.
Yeah.
And he initially says yes because he was blinded by seeing Garrett, but then he changes his mind, and this is where he starts to get attacked by the ghost kids, and he wakes up finding the bodies of all the break-in people, which was gnarly. Just stuffed into suits. That was crazy.
Gnarly.
Oh, stuffed into old suits, I should say. And then Foxy was chasing him down, and you thought that Foxy got him at that moment, which was still cool to see him once again. The scatting thing and walking slowly down the hallway, I thought was really cool, and then he just takes off sprinting straight from the game. So freaky. It was so freaky, yeah.
Hate that. I would, I'd shit my pants.
And then there's the moment that Freddy shows up at the house to get Abby. In this, there wasn't too much comedy. There was little jokes here and there, but there wasn't a hugely outright funny thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Which it didn't necessarily need too many things.
No.
But the added part with Freddy getting into the Golden Freddy, I should say, getting into the taxi was much needed.
Yeah.
It was absolutely needed. I absolutely loved the moment where she gets into the taxi and he's like, "Oh, where you headed off to, little one," or whatever. And then he gets in and you just see the taxi just shake around because he's so heavy. and he shuts the door and scares the taxi driver.
Uh-huh.
That scene was such a necessity to this movie. And I'm glad that they added it because it was like the best of all worlds. Creepy, funny, sad, happy. There was everything in this movie.
All the vibes were there.
Exactly. But that scene was a necessity, even though it was, a short scene and it didn't really add anything to the story. That needed to be there. It was excellent. Then we get the backstory around the kids. Now, lore experts know, like seeing from the beginning of the movie, but this is where it says, William Afton took the kids and shoved their bodies into animatronics, and their ghosts are possessing them.
It's insane.
It's nasty.
It's insane.
And crazy. It's just that, this is what Five Nights at Freddy's is.
Exactly.
And this is why a lot of us love this, because it's not just as simple as the animatronics just want to kill. It's that they're possessed animatronics by little ghost kids who are controlled by William Afton.
Yeah.
And it's not what you think. It's definitely a lot different. And then it's the next moment where we find out that Vanessa is William Afton's daughter.
Yeah.
So
Which is why she knows so much about it.
Yeah. It explains a lot throughout the movie. I personally don't know everything about the lore. I know more than most because I played a lot of the games. I watched a lot of people play the games like PewDiePie, Markiplier, stuff like that. But I don't remember him having a daughter. Personally,
I didn't know that at all. And
he may have in the games. I just can't remember it. But still, it was a complete 180 twist. It's not something that you were expecting.
No, not at all.
You didn't. No one. Unless it was in the games and I just missed it. No one really knew that, hey, this is William Afton's daughter.
Yeah.
And it was a very cool twist. And it also explains a lot about this movie. A ton, actually. And then she decides to help Mike by giving him the tools to save Abby and tells him how to get into Freddy Fazbear's.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see that the plan, working out. And, I like when they do the sequence where the scene is happening and they're describing it. Like, they're making a plan. Oh, you got to do this and then this. Wow, it's happening on screen.
Yes.
I like that. You don't have to sit there and make the plan and then show it in a separate scene.
Yeah.
I like seeing the scene as...
Explaining and seeing it at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like that. And I really enjoyed the attacking the animatronics scene while saving Abby scene. That whole thing. I thought it was really cool. It was different because in the games, obviously, you couldn't attack the animatronics. Yeah. But it was cool to see how clever he was and what ways it was to stop the animatronics. Was that you just you have to hit them with electricity, so on and so forth. And it was just cool that he dumped the water on the floor and then shot the water, and it was cool.
Yeah,
it was really well thought out and clever, if you want to say that. And it's at this moment that Spring Bonnie shows up. The yellow rabbit, if you want to call it. But that's
Yellow Rabbit.
That's Spring Bonnie is her, lore name. And this is the first time that Spring Bonnie shows up. For lore experts, we know exactly what's going to happen, what's going down. But the newcomers, it was really cool to see this extra killer come out, this extra animatronic. And he's just walking out, and then all of a sudden takes off the head. It's Steve Aglin, who is William Afton. And that's the reveal. is that Vanessa showed Mike a picture of her and her father being in the spring Bonnie suit. And then he takes the head off, and it's Steve Aglin, who gave Mike the job in the beginning of the movie.
Exactly. When he did that, I was like, what?
That's wild. And he's there to kill people. And, like, he just gave... I saw someone review this earlier. Yes, I agree that he wasn't in the movie enough, but he, I feel like, didn't need to be in it too much more.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
If you had him too much in there, it would make the reveal kind of obsolete at the end. He didn't need to be in the entire movie.
No, there was no point.
But should he be in 2 and 3? Absolutely.
He should. Yeah.
He should be a big part of the next 2 movies.
Are they already planning?
They've signed up for 3 movies.
Oh, cool. Didn't know that.
But he should be a very big part of the next 2.
Yeah.
That's when I would probably be disappointed if he wasn't in those 2 a lot. But anyway. And we see that, you know, Steve is William. And very Stu vibes from Scream.
Yeah.
He clearly has not lost it.
No.
He knows
exactly what he's doing.
What's the meme? He understood the assignment. He gets it. He knows what we want to see from a homicidal killer and stuff.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Yeah. He knows how to play villain.
Oh, so well. And we get, you know, a little more of the backstory and like why he's doing it, and it's just so cool to see from a different point of view. Well, from William Afton's point of view.
Yeah.
Instead of so much from Mike and the good side's point of view, I guess you could say. But they figure out how to stop William, and it's changing the picture, and that the kids can now see William for who he is.
Yeah.
He is no longer a lie. It's no longer that William was protecting them and he loved them. It was that he killed them.
Yeah.
He killed them and shoved their bodies.
Forced them to go in there.
Exactly.
Yes.
And he's controlling them with this.
Yep.
But now they can see him, and they start attacking William. And the moment that most of us were waiting for, I don't know if you knew about this part, but every lore expert person was waiting for the spring trap failure, the spring lock failure. The things in the suit that were supposed to stop you from getting crushed ends up crushing and killing William Afton.
Yeah.
And in the game, it was done in like 8-bit. And he got in the suit and the spring lock failure, and like you just saw blood pouring out of the suit, and it was in a way more brutal because his like arms and legs got all twisted up. But like the way they did it in the movie was absolutely excellent, because he dies in the suit in the lore aspect. He dies in the suit and he possesses Spring Suit Bonnie because of the spring lock failure. And you could just see the teeth sinking into his rib cage and crushing his ribs, and I assume his spine, and like just ripping him open.
Yeah.
Like that was nasty, and that was really cool.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then, you know, William stabbed his own daughter, and he goes to visit her. Mike goes to visit her. So it's clear that she's not dead. She's in a coma, which, okay, I get it. You just got stabbed, maybe in the spine, so we'll see what happens
with her. Yeah.
But it also kind of foreshadows, to me, it seems like it foreshadows that she's going to be important later.
I think so too.
Whether it's to help them or
they'll
not
get
help
together.
Them. They'll get together, maybe.
Love.
Or maybe she turns into William.
I don't know. I think she'll be good.
I think so too, but anything's possible at this point.
We'll see.
And for the final part, it's a closed but open ending. Closed as in if they didn't make 2 and 3, I don't think anyone would really be upset, other than the fact that they don't get a second and third movie. It's more of, you know, they wrap up the story nicely. And it's not like a cliffhanger or anything. But it's also open because there's going to be a sequel. Well, there's going to be a 2 and 3. They've signed up for 3 movies. And just the fact that they left it both closed and open gives me high hopes that they at least... Well, watching the movie and seeing the ending, they seem to know what they're doing, what they want to do.
Too.
And
it's probably already planned out.
Absolutely. And I really enjoyed the way that they made this movie, and I really enjoyed that they ended it that way. They didn't need to end it up in a clean wrap-up of, you know...
Yeah.
Every answer being explained and stuff like that. I like the way that they did it. I'm happy with that way. So we're at the end. There is a post-credit scene, so, you know, stick around for that, anybody listening before watching it. What would you rate this movie?
7.5.
7.5? I gave it a 9.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, I understood a little more of the lore aspect of it. And, but it was still, there was a lot to the movie that really gave it that higher score for me.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a tiny bit. Well, we'll just do that now. It makes more sense to do it now. So what I really, really liked about this movie, and why I gave it a 9 out of 10, is that it's fresh.
Yeah.
We had, you know, Willy's Wonderland, but that was more of a knockoff of Five Nights at Freddy's because they were taking so long to write the movie. But it's fresh. This isn't something that, like, we have 100 movies of animatronics killing people. It's new.
Yes.
It's very lore driven, which could be, in a way, its downfall, because people that didn't play the games aren't totally gonna understand what's going on, but in the same time they can understand if they just you know, pay attention. But I love how lore driven it is. I absolutely love that they took that angle. And nostalgia meshed perfectly. They didn't use it in unnecessary places. They didn't use too much of it or too little. I feel like the nostalgia for the gaming fans fit in perfectly with making the movie. They really, really did that really well.
Yeah.
Something that I didn't really care for about the movie, and I said it ever since I watched the first trailer, was the eyes.
Okay.
The normal eyes staring at the camera was absolutely creepy.
Yeah.
It was the red.
Yes.
That I didn't really care too much for.
Yeah.
And I didn't really... I didn't like it in the trailer as much, and that's really the only complaint I have about the movie.
I did notice that too.
Is the eyes kind of looked weird to me. But that's not a make or break it for the movie. I still say it's a 9 out of 10 personally for me because of how excellent it was. Like how well it was shot. The cast was amazing. There were no bad actors in the movie, really.
Everyone was great.
And how lore driven it was, how nostalgia feeling it was, and still fresh at the same time. All of that comes into an honest 9 out of 10 for me.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
What's your side? What did you like and dislike about this movie?
I wouldn't say I disliked much. I just didn't understand it as much as you did, so I didn't get some things, so I had to like figure it out. But I didn't dislike very much about it. I really did like it. I think animatronics are really freaky just in general, so I think they got that part down.
Yeah.
The kids also freaky.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Anytime there's kids in scary movies, it's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just really liked it. And I like how they explained everything to you because I needed that. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty good, and I liked the cute little part where he puts his hand out and she puts a heart note. I think that was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute.
Is there anything? Did you have anything that you didn't really care for, off the top of your head?
There was one moment where the main character, what was his name?
Mike,
yeah. There was like a little CGI moment that I didn't love. Do you remember? With like the electric shock. I'll have to go back and show you, but it looked a little, unless I was judging it too harshly, it just looked a little fake.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
I didn't pay attention to...
Yeah, I'll screenshot it later and send it to you, but I was like, I don't love that. I don't... Personally, when I watch, like, scary movies, if the CGI is not, like... It doesn't have to be perfect, but if it just looks kind of shitty, I just stop watching the movie. Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, I've definitely
Where you're
done
like,
it before.
this looks stupid.
Yeah, I've done it before.
Not saying that Five Nights looks stupid. I'm just saying that one part, I was like, I don't really care for that one part. It's literally like 5 seconds. Yeah. But I'll show it to you later. Other than that, I can't really complain. I thought it was pretty good.
Cool. All right, so I'll get into some of the fear facts that we have for this movie. Obviously, there's not many because it's 1 day old.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This is mostly like behind the scenes stuff. Not too many Easter eggs have come out for the movie quite yet. There's no CGI regarding the animatronics.
Oh, really?
So,
oh, yeah, I heard that.
It's
people, right?
Yeah, so Jim Henson's actually made the animatronics. Like actual practical animatronics, which is insane to realize that this whole movie was like real animatronics. This is Blumhouse's, or Bloomhouse's, whichever, first video game movie.
Oh, sweet.
This is the first time they've ever done it, which is really cool. So there were practical animatronics for the moment you liked where he put his hand out.
Yeah.
That was done by a real animatronic controlled by people.
Wow. Pretty
but
sick.
When any of the animatronics would walk, there was a person in the suit. When they would walk and move and stuff, they were in the suit.
Crazy.
Which is cool. You couldn't really tell.
No.
There was
Pretty
a couple.
Cool, though.
There was like one moment that I saw like Freddy's hip squish.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously in costume, but that wasn't like
a big
deal because who knows what the animatronic fur stuff is actually made out of. So
yeah, who fucking knows?
Who knows? It's not so much that like it was like, oh, that took me out of the movie or whatever, but Blumhouse said that this movie was their top priority.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm glad that they put care into this because they knew that if they fuck this up, they're probably going to piss some people off and lose out on a lot of money. This movie made back the money before it even came out.
Wow.
They made back the money that they spent on making the movie just by selling the viewing rights to Peacock and to the theaters.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad they put it on Peacock.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice that they streamed it, made it a little easier for me.
Yeah. And not only that, like, the people that don't really know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, they can just watch it on Peacock.
Yeah, exactly.
The more hardcore fans can just go to the theater and watch it. Plus, if, some of the fans, like X, he's only 15, so he can't really go to the theater himself and see it, so he watched it on Peacock with a bunch of his friends, but he really knew. He knows the backstory and stuff like that.
I'm glad they made it a little more, like, accessible.
Yeah, for everybody.
For everybody.
So, Aunt Jane in the living room is the exact same setup from Five Nights at Freddy's Secret Location game as Mike's bedroom in that game. So the living room looks 100% just like the game.
That's crazy.
Which is cool.
That's really cool. I like that.
I can't wait to see like the little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's Easter eggs I missed.
We'll hear about it though.
Like the YouTuber Matt Pat. You know him, right?
Maybe.
he was the waiter in the diner, and he had like Five Nights at Freddy's theories all the time, and he said it's just a theory in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And X told me that was Matt Pat, the YouTuber, who always had Five Nights at Freddy's theories and stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And like he became really big because of his theories about Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's
and
awesome.
Markiplier was supposed to have a cameo in the movie because Markiplier is the reason that this game blew up.
Yeah.
Because people watched him play it, and everyone was like, "Oh, this is so scary," stuff like that. So, Five Nights at Freddy's kind of owes it to Markiplier as to why they got so popular. And for my final one, during the break-in scene, Sparky the dog is in the background.
Yeah.
Which was a rumored character supposed to be in one of the games, maybe the first game or something, but it was a hoax. So they added it to the movie as like a little cameo in the background type character.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of cool. But yeah, I can't wait to see the people that have a list of, all the Easter eggs and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. So that was Five Nights at Freddy's. This is a longer episode. We're at 55 minutes.
Hell yeah.
But there was a lot to unpack from this movie. And it's kind of a special episode. We're watching it in the same day type deal.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I did too. I'm going to definitely watch it again.
Me too. Yeah, I want to buy the Blu-ray and everything.
Yeah.
So our next movie will be No One Will Save You.
Our father suggested it.
Yeah, it was
he said it's pretty good.
Recommendation from our dad, so
he said
that'll
I'm
be
gonna
cool.
Like it. He said if I know you, you'll like it. I'm like, okay.
So that'll be next, and we thank you for listening to our longer episode.
We appreciate it. The next movie is on Hulu, if you'd like to watch it before listening.
Oh yeah, true. We're gonna watch No One Will Save You on Hulu. So check that out and join us next week. And once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Oh.
And then we have to read the question real quick.
We already did these. New question.
At the bottom. Oh.
That was the question this time.
Okay. Well.
He's losing his bonkers. Sorry, guys.
No,
As you probably saw on Facebook, he's gonna be a daddy now. So... He's got a lot on the brain. Yes, you guys can call me Answers if you want. Vincent Price starred in this 1959 ghostly classic and invited 5 people to survive the night.
So if you know that answer, put it on the Facebook, and we'll shout you out for the next episode, which will be No One Will Save You. Father's recommendation.
Thanks, Dad.
So thank you once again for listening.
Thank you.
And we will catch you next week.
Catch you later.